taking a critical look at the future of artificial intelligence. It's a pretty incredible piece. It's entitled Behind the Curtain, a white-collar bloodbath. That could be the result of AI.
Well, yeah, and Jim, people that run AI companies don't want to talk about it. They want to pretend it's not going to happen. Silicon Valley wants to pretend it's not going to happen. Wall Street doesn't really want to talk about it. But the fact is, as you report, just like the technological revolution, the IT revolution gutted blue-collar workers throughout the 90s and beyond, you're now talking about a bloodbath for white-collar workers because of AI. And from what you've seen and what you're reporting on, it is going to be a bloodbath for workers.
I mean, that is certainly the warning of Dario Amodei, who is the CEO of Anthropic. And just for your viewers, Anthropic is one of the top creators of this AI, these large language models in the world. So he has better visibility than probably all but 2 or 3 people in the world into the power of this technology. He'd been telling us in private for a while that this bloodbath could be coming, but that lawmakers don't want to talk about it. The federal government doesn't want to talk about it. AI companies don't want to spook people. We finally convinced him to go on the record. And his point is, like, listen, just play with this technology, not just casually. Like, once you really dive into it, you realize it can do the work already of researchers, of analysts, of a whole host of entry-level white-collar jobs. And he put it in the starkest of terms. He said, like, based on their early analysis, over a 5-year period, it could wipe out half of white-collar entry-level jobs. Unemployment could spike to 10 to 20% in the next 5 years. And this is a guy who's building the technology, who's boasting about the power of it. And when we pushed him on, then if you're building it, like, how do you morally kind of think about it in your own mind? And he said, I have an obligation to build the technology. I also have an obligation to get the federal government, to get lawmakers, to get other AI companies to figure out how do we prepare the American worker and how do we protect the American worker. And so, as someone who runs a company, I run Axios as a CEO, I spend an inordinate amount of time studying AI and how it's going to play out just in my space of media. And I can guarantee you in the next 5 years, it's going to radically transform the makeup of our company. Well, every single company in the world is doing this. Every CEO is sitting there saying, should I fill this role? Should I open this role? Will a machine do this better than man in the next couple of years? When you see data out about the difficulty of college grads finding new jobs, this is one of the early telltale signs that this could be coming. And so I think the column is very much worth a read. I wish lawmakers spent more time thinking about this rather than some of the small ball things that they debate day to day.
It's been fascinating to see many of the people who are developing.
Right, so I'm giving no praise unto Bashim Kohakodash. The bonus unto the apostles of great millstone, and the honestly brothers that are pushing his truth and sincerity for the four corners of the earth. Lord, everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh. Bashim Yahweh Shai. Bashim Kohakodash. Giving no praise unto Bashim Shai. Bashim Kohakodash. Okay, so it's going to be a relatively quick video based upon this video, this infographic that we just seen. And for all intents and purposes, you can see the scriptures is going to be fulfilled, wherewith the scripture says, there shall be no work, neither for the head or the tail. And you can see, right, first and foremost, we understand that Esau is going to crash this economy. And that's to usher in the NWO. That's to usher in the world, their utopia that they're trying to establish upon the face of the earth. But within that utopia, it's got to be understood that what Esau's bringing upon the earth is not, right, enlightenment, work, and all of these great things that's going to come by way of the so-called NWO. No. The rather it's going to be, right, man being merged with machine. That's where man is involved. But for the most part, it's going to be just machines running their world, okay? And as we get into that MLTB system, you're going to see more and more of these jobs that people were glorifying themselves in, especially the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American women. They was glorying in these particular jobs. But these jobs are going to cease to exist pretty soon, okay? These jobs, these corporate jobs that you've seen people out here glorying in, they're going to be ceasing to exist. These these high value people jobs, okay? So you can understand, right? These are going to be a thing of the past because ultimately, right, the machines are going to be taking over, okay? The machines are taking over. They showed you that, right? Terminator, all of these movies, they showed you these particular things. right? They showed you these things within the movies, and now you're seeing it play out in real life. Okay, you're seeing the move towards, right, the AI and the AI ruling and running everything. You're seeing all of these things. You're seeing all of these back end little jobs and all this, that, and the third. I mean, it started off with what? Stacking. It started off with stacking shelves. Now you can get the robots to stack shelves. Okay, look at what Amazon is doing, and it moved on to what did you see? Here you used to be able to go into a store. This is about 10 years ago, man. Okay, just 10 years ago, you could go into a store, and the checkout person was gonna be just that. It was gonna be a person. Now it's like there was a skit on Instagram. The guy said, "Look, man, I feel tired, and I realized I got a couple jobs. I didn't realize that I was a shop clerk." Okay, because ultimately they've worked out, all right, 20% of people steal or whatever, right? So factor that in within the price of goods and let the people just serve themselves. And it's still more profitable than employing somebody that needs health insurance, that needs medical insurance, that needs all of these particular things in order for them to do the job, right? The same thing goes for all of these mid-level, managers that do FO, okay? A guy that's in there and he's supposed to be the operations manager. What do you need an operations manager for? You could just run the program to do the operations, okay? What do you need, right, a general manager for? You can get the general AI to do that. And this is what's coming down the pipeline, man. This is what's coming down the pipeline, the transition into a world where the machines run everything. I mean, ultimately, they're already running some of the aspects, right? When you're applying for insurance, when you're applying for, right, a loan, that's a machine that's doing that. That's a computer that's doing that. It's looking at your credit, it's linking up particular things about you and saying, okay, yeah, this is acceptable. And ultimately, it's going to lead onto that social credit system where the acquisition of particular things is going to be all, right, done by a computer. Okay, the interacting with particular things is all going to be done by what? It's going to be all done by the machines, man. Yeah, so yeah, like he said, a bloodbath, right? It's going to be mass joblessness, right, pretty soon, right, for many reasons. With that, myself, Prince Ante Abashi, Mashai Abashi, Mko Hakorash, the bonus unto the apostles of great millstone, and I honor you brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.